were streaming that conversation between Simon and two guys, well, one woman and one guy, the woman I know, and they were talking in their accents and like not understanding anything, reading from ChatGPT, trying to make sense of the philosophy of science and math. I was like, oh, ridiculous. And math.
Well, it's because we were talking about that because there was an actual PhD of math in the room.
Bobadilla?
And he... no, this guy Carlos.
He said actual.
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking like...
Are you talking about Professor Lyrical?
No, I'm talking about Carlos. And yeah, we were just talking about it because he brought forth like this paradox, saying, regarding his like theoretical math paradox, and I was like, if there's no practical use for it, then you're just talking about numbers. You're just talking about numbers that add up to whatever its sum is. Like it has no practical application in reality. They're not real concepts. So
they can describe interesting relationships, even if those relationships don't exist in the real world. They exist mathematically.
Right, but mathematics is used to describe things in reality.
Well, that's one use of it. It's also used to describe things mathematically. It's like, it's a way to describe things. Just because they don't exist doesn't make it without value.
But precisely because it's used to describe things, it requires or it implies.
No, that's one use of it. That's not the only use.
Yeah, but even when you're mathing, even when you are just adding numbers, there needs to be some sort of meaning behind it. Because otherwise, you're just doing it for the sake of doing. When you're doing math, you're striving to look for something to make sense.
I told you what that was, that they are striving for, and what's enjoyable to mathematicians about that is you are describing interesting relationships that may not exist in the real world, but they exist in the mathematical sense. And the way they interact, and the way the numbers interact, and those mathematical relationships work out in different ways, that's what's interesting. And that is helpful mathematically for other... No, that's not based on reality. That's based on mathematics.
The measurements and the formulas are all based on reality.
That's my point. Like, mathematics is based off of things about reality, measurements in reality. If it has no tie to reality, you're just living in your head. You're living in a fantasy world. There's no practical.
You know what it is like saying, okay, all the words that I am using right now and that we're using to communicate were based off of reality. Now, we can use these words to describe an imaginary world. That imaginary world is not real, but the words that I am using in order to communicate with you guys are based off reality. So the same thing with math. You can use it in order to describe what you're saying, imagine things or make theories or whatever, forecasts that are not real. But the way, the language they're using it is in order for them to be able to understand each other is based off of reality.
That's right.
Because if you start addressing, if you start using math, or if the origin of math was imagination, then we would arrive to a concept, let's say, like God, right? God is something that we all kind of know what we are talking about, but nobody really understands what appears in your head when you talk about God. Like, everybody has got a different image, in their head of God. Because, nobody...
The concept of God is
Dr. Sasha!
But if we say...
Welcome back!
If I tell you...
You know what kind of show it is.
We all have the universal concept of what a chair is, or a TV, or like...
Is this what I do? Is this how I ruin your Clownhouse experience by playing music?
What's the concept of God? You're going to have similar characteristics, just like you'll have similar characteristics of a chair, but you'll never both be imagining the exact same imaginary chair. It might be
No, but you know what a chair
Well, that's Yeah, that's measurement. That's called measurement omission. Basically, like, put aside God, but like us having a different concept of like what, or like a different outlook of what that specific chair would look like. The whole point is we all understand what a chair is, but like the like you like it could be a glass chair, it could be a wooden chair.
At this point, God, well, I don't know. People have even drawn. I don't know.
Drawn.
No, drawn is another thing. Whatever. People have made pictures of God, and you have seen God represented on TV and whatever. And so
I saw God in a tortilla once.
people do have kind of like they can share an image of what civilization or humanity has made of God, but still, when you really want to talk about the actual God, like there is.
Okay, but given all that, why do we have to limit the use of mathematics to reality? Why just because it comes from our understanding? Say I concede that point. Why is it here? There's more information than that.
Because that's all there is.
I mean, that's all that exists.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the whole point. Like it's.
But just because something doesn't exist doesn't mean it can't be interesting to imagine it.
Well, but the whole thing is like, what are you basing what you're doing on?
It's like sci-fi, dude. They're making up. They're finding things that may not have worked out in reality, but had things been slightly different, they could have.
Okay,
Yeah, but
well, I mean,
sci-fi is based off of reality, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, and sci-fi has its basis in reality. Because otherwise, I mean, like, these concepts are coming from reality.
But like, I don't know how much you know about like Plato or Platonism, but like he has like a whole concept that basically he's taken over math where people have like just floating abstractions in their minds, where it's just like it's a little more difficult to explain, but basically, if it doesn't refer to reality, then it's just a floating abstraction in your mind. There's no practical use to it, and you can't refer or point to anything about what you're thinking about.
Otherwise, it's called science fiction, using your imagination.
Okay, but that's not what mathematics is used for. That's the whole point.
For example, do you know what a pluf-puff is?
Yeah, that's when you put cocaine into a hooker's butthole and with a straw.
No, it's not. A pluf-puff.
I thought it
Only I
was
know what a pluf-puff is. Nobody knows. So if I want to explain what a pluf-puff is,
Damn, what happened
I don't
there?
know, I wouldn't be able to because it's not based on reality. It's just a pluf-puff.
That's right. A flooberdoodle.
I think what we have here is a lack of imagination.
That's right. A flooberdoodle is a flooberdoodle.
I think it's smaller than a pluf-puff.
Size doesn't matter.
That's right. That's what she said. But yeah. Anyways, it's like 6 a.m. right now. 6:30.
Oh, you know what I was told yesterday, Simon? When my friend, he said that Islam is very compatible with Austrian economics.
No, it's
And
not.
that, there is no discrepancies between Islam and Austrian economics and Ludwig von Mises and all of these guys.
Okay, so why hasn't the Muslim world adopted it?
No, it was
This is about to go out though, so.
To be reality.
subscribe to my newsletter. You can go there now.
Okay, well,
This will be
okay.
a short link to get received.
What about usury?
But all right, guys. I'm gonna shut it down. Trash, thanks for rocking with me. This was an unexpected.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just thought of you yesterday
Got a
when I
lot
was
of
talking to
information
you.
for us to fucking go through in a single space.
That's a weird
Yeah,
thing.
sorry guys. I know we sounded
to have,
I know we sounded like all over the place, but like a lot of us have been in this.
What are you doing awake, by the way? Did you wake up or haven't you slept?
No, I fell asleep early. I fell asleep at like actually no, it wasn't even that early. Maybe like 10:30 because my girlfriend came back from Milan, and then I woke up at like 1:30.
Is she back or did she leave? I thought you said
she
that
left.
your girlfriend was in Milan, and now you're saying she's back.
Yeah, she came. She got back at like 9:30 this evening.
Oh, okay.
Is your girlfriend abstract or is she actually real?
No, she's real. So the message you sent me was before that. Then. I thought you meant that she was there still.
Yeah.
I kind of love the Itty Bitty Titty Committee poem. I'm sorry. I just read it.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I'm amazing.
But I feel like it's quite witty for Itty Bitty Titty Committee. So bravo.
Thank you very much. I'm proud of my itty bitty titties.
See, itty bitty titties are only great with a fat ass. Otherwise, itty bitty titties by themselves are not great.
I have a fat ass. So it's good.
I'm not talking about like an obese fat ass. I'm talking about a nice semi-fat ass, just a little bit past perfect.
But isn't that the new look? I mean, like these girls that have got the big ass, they're just fat people that get liposuction so that they have like a flat belly with a big fat ass.
I don't know.
Their bellies always look like it's like their bellies always look really awkward.
Do you think bellies were ever like in?
Never.
No.
I think these are just fat girls that they just get a liposuction in the belly.
If you do lipo or a BBL, but you don't go to the gym, you're totally mental. If you don't have any actual definition or form or muscular skeletal system development, and you just do plastic surgery, you're a hideous creature who's falling apart.
In Arab culture, they call it prosperous, bro. That means she has money to eat.
Well played.
That's not one that what?
Yeah, diabetes is not prosperity.
Be a big woman.
Tender, what I
Jesus,
said
why do
is,
you have to speak over CEH? Say it again, I didn't hear.
In Arab culture, they don't call it being fat, they call it being prosperous, and it's a sign that you have money and you eat well.
Then I'm very prosperous.
We've seen the documentary of those pre-diabetic fatties in Saudi Arabia that eat at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I wonder if you get like a couple minutes on the liposuck for every like Happy Meal you order.
Do you know how painful liposuction is? Have you ever seen the actual surgery and what these women go through afterwards?
I know it well, and no, not at all.
They literally take an electric cattle prod and emulsify your fat while ripping through your flesh and sinews, all to emulsify the fat. And then the recovery process is like a 90-day or more. It's brutal.
I think I paid for something just like that, but it was not about changing my body shape. It was something else.
You can fix the belly fat, but you can't fix the brain.
That's right.
That's true.
I really wonder if there was like a culture where like having a belly, like, you know, having a big belly was like hot. It was like, yeah, was
Yeah, in the USA.
Yeah, in Pulp Fiction.
it may be common. Common is not hot.
In Pulp Fiction, when
in Africa, the bigger your belly, the more attractive you are. If you see some of these guys,
Where?
there's a tribe in Africa. If you see some of their fucking stomachs, it's ridiculous.
Well, in sumo, it's also
Yeah, but that's a sport.
so it's, I don't know the word I'm looking for.
Sumo wrestling.
Yeah, no, but I was looking for a word.
could this be real? The name of that tribe, it's like this has to be it's BODI, which could easily like sound like body. So it just I don't know.
I just thought that even the sound of the bellies colliding with each other, and then seeing those two men, like rubbing each other. I mean, their bodies towards each other. It was, I don't know. It was like horrible.
I've never seen it, but I
I
definitely
think this topic must be exciting to Will.
Well, if you're a man and you've ever made love to a fat woman who can't actually move in the bed because she's so fat and out of shape, it's really disgusting.
Have you?
in a good way.
I'm just saying, I've been with some ladies that needed to go to the gym.
Have you ever been doing it in like a fold and you thought you were inside? Was it that bad?
Sometimes when you can't see the actual vagina because there's so much fat and flesh surrounding the.
Why are you?
Is that I can't even imagine. You ever remember that thing, the thigh-gina of that chick on the bus? And it totally looks like a crotch shot, but it's just her thighs. It was a very popular meme back in the day. But
I'm just saying, a lot of these girls on these dating apps, they don't need to try to get free dinners. What they need is a gym membership.
Let's go to the gym. That's amazing.
I need free dinners, Josh.
I think I'm gonna have to get started.
No matter how fat I am, I will always need free dinners.
No, you need a gym membership before you need free dinners.
I'll tell you what, I'll buy you the dinner when you need it. Here's the gym membership.
I don't think the gym will be able to fight 450 pounds.
Believe me, what I'm saying is these women have their priorities totally backwards and they're utterly insane. And it's just obvious that most of these fatties that want to drink and eat all the time but not go to the gym, and they're posting photos from 8 years ago, like they're never going to get to where they want to be because their priorities, they have no priorities.
Dude, glory days. That's where I live. Ozempic, though, they're good. Ozempic, they got this.
I heard Ozempic is having a lot of secondary effects, like it makes you grow hair.
I heard it makes your butt fall down or something.
It is fall. Okay.
No, I said I heard there's something called Ozempic butt. I don't understand it exactly, but apparently it makes your butt sag.
Oh, that's because you don't go to exercise.
Maybe, yeah, you're losing the weight and then I don't know.
And your skin is loose.
I don't think that doing that way, I think it can be healthy, but if like you're just like, oh, I'm gonna do me and just take this injection and still do me, that's not a good thing. You gotta want to change to change. Alright, you want to hear some geriatric dating stories? This is very funny. My dad is a single older gentleman, and he had this chick who was, she lived not close. They'd have to drive to see each other. And she's been around for a while. She's a nice enough lady or whatever. And he just needed some time. He's like, he had a lot going on. So he's like taking a break from her. She thinks it's like a big deal. It's not a big deal to him. But she starts texting my sister-in-law, his daughter-in-law, and basically saying that she was the one taking him away from her. She texted my daughter-in-law's mother to say how horrible her daughter was for stealing him away. It was like, it has gone so far off the fucking rock. Like, just, I've seen crazy. I've never seen this. imagine texting the mother of someone's child's wife? Oh, just I don't know. Sorry. I guess you have to be there.
Yeah, I think it went a little bit over my head, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm leaving out a lot of the like, whatever, but like, it's just, I don't know. I had no idea this continues into the geriatric stage.
Well, be careful or you will end up there.
I mean, I guess so. Wait, who am I in that example?
Your dad.
Okay, I guess that's better. They somehow
Like
sent
father,
him a
like
text.
son. How old's your dad?
He's pushing 80.
And he's still dating. That's really nice.
Yeah, he's not quite there, but you know, within about 20 years up or down, but more up. He's old. He still skis.
Wow. I wish my mom would date.
Is your mom hot and not crazy?
No, she's a little bit crazy. But she's 73 now.
Okay, they're in the same dating pool. There's the thing is there's like very few of him and so many women.
Yeah, because you guys die earlier.
Not only that, but if they don't die, they're still married, kind of thing. So it's like my mom died, so he's
That's true. I mean, you know that married men live longer than single men, and it's the opposite for women. Married women live less than single women.
Makes sense.
So if you want to live longer,
All right, but like, here's the thing: the married
You have
men
to get
are
married.
miserable, right? They're miserable because they're married and they have to put up with their whatever, and the unmarried women are just bitter, so they just have to put. So it's like anger, hate, bitterness will carry you through.
The actual reason apparently is because men, I mean, they live longer. What was it? Yeah, they live longer when they're married and they die earlier if they're single. So yeah, I don't know.
STDs.
I got it all confused in my head. I
Do
said it right the first time.
you know how like everybody thinks people in Okinawa live longer? They have like this incredibly long-lived population. You've never heard that about? I think it's Okinawa, Japan. They have like diets based on them, and they have so many centenarians. You never heard that?
Mm-mm.
Really? Okay. Well, this won't be interesting to you.
Well, no, talk about it. I mean, like I just have never heard.
All right. So it's like quite well known. Kind of thing that people believe, and apparently it was based on a whole lot of really bad data that like and misaligned incentives. Like people there are some of the poorest people in Japan. They're much more likely to commit fraud, to pretend like they are still alive, their relatives still alive, but they're not, to stay on like the dole from the government. And there's all this like statistical. It's just very interesting how there's this very common belief they're some of the longest lived people, and yet apparently,
So they have client base and diet, heavy on vegetables, especially sweet potato, seaweed, and leafy greens.
now ask ChatGPT, do they live longer, or are they more are they more susceptible to fraud? Ask it. Do they live longer, or is that being misrepresented?
Well, they live
for
longer.
statistics?
People age abroad.
No, so they judge that by the number of centenarians. People, right?
No, they know in calories, but they can only know it's following the principle of how to have food. Eating until they are 80% full.
You say it's the ghetto there. Nobody follows that traditional diet anymore.
Money is
Eating
coming.
with sugar.
I'm telling you, it's like the ghetto there, and no, like that may be true that at one point that was a traditional diet. It's no longer true, and it no longer applies. It's bizarre. I don't know, whether or not they have the most centenarians or not, but I do know that their statistics are totally fucked up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I don't know if Angels major or not.
It doesn't say here that it's violent or anything. It says that poor, yes, it's less economically advantaged, but it says that poor is very different from poverty in developing countries or struggling urban areas elsewhere. Most people's basic needs are met, and public safety, infrastructure, and healthcare are strong. Okinawa is laid back, peaceful, and tight-knit. Crime is very low. Homes are modest, but there's a deep sense of community pride and respect for others. Yeah, it's not ghetto. You cannot call ghetto really basically anything that is outside of the United.
It is ghetto. That's not like.
Have you been there?
Twice.
Okay, so maybe your perception of ghetto because maybe the houses are not as beautiful, or it might look, I don't know, like old and poor, but that doesn't mean that it's ghetto. Anyway, they say that they live longer because of their diet. It's plant-based, low in calories, minimal sugar and processed foods, and clean antioxidants. Active lifestyle. They do a lot of walking, gardening, and movement. Elderly people often stay physically active while and low chronic disease rates. It's interesting. I didn't know about this.
I wonder what the Nigerian level.
I just asked ChatGPT, have the statistics about Okinawa lifespan been misrepresented from statistical misrepresentations and due to locals misrepresenting dead relatives as alive for government payments, for the incentive of government payments. And it says, yes, Okinawa's legendary longevity has been partially overstated due to outdated or inaccurate civil registration system. It goes on to say, basically, people cheated. Yeah, they're healthy, but it's not that big of an anomaly.
I don't know.
I just found it fascinating because they were like the center of people living forever.
No, I don't think that they're saying people live forever, but you find a lot of very old people in both houses.
Well, I don't know what the real numbers are, but apparently you don't, or not that many more than other places. I'm not. This isn't my book. I'm just talking from some shit I read that I found interesting. I don't know which is true. Like you said, I haven't been there. But the other thing is, have have you seen this with what's the old lady in France? She lived to like 122. Apparently, there's a good chance that it was actually her daughter. Her daughter allegedly died when she was like 36, and her mom was like in her 60s. And then I guess her.
The identity of the mom.
Yeah, but like it gets weirder because I think the dad or the stepdad moved in with the daughter's husband lived with his mother.
You're a girlfriend, so
Without
right.
having to put my lips on shit, baby.
Right. So your personality is that great. You just hand over. You hand over personality. You hands over money, right?
Money, no.
Personality here.
I think you're.
You
Would
just be
you be more
overhyped.
jealous of him? Would you be more jealous of? No, seriously, now it's a real deal question, y'all. I'm done.
Why would I be jealous? No,
No, I'm asking you the regular too, the one that's
You're
Would you be
Y'all gotta give her a chance to speak. We don't know nothing about her. She's
Would you be more
Give us a rundown of who you are, America, and your beliefs.
Yes, I am a Christian from the Midwest. No, I'm from the 80s. Let me tell you, when I first learned about the feminism thing, I was really grateful to all the things that paved the way for my generation, but I am not a feminist at all. I have marched before, but I stopped marching in 1999 against police brutality in Chicago. I'm none of these things that he's saying.
Y'all let her talk.
I'm around 40 years old, bro.
Bro, I've been here
I'm
for 5
almost
years.
an OG.
I understand your voice. Almost 40 again.
Yeah, I'm almost an OG. I'm from the 80s. I had Jerry curls and points. Let's just keep on talking over me though, man. Straight up, it's like fucking
That's like an
Bro, she might be a good woman, but y'all gonna take her off to the feminist work, bro.
this question.
Y'all gonna take her off to the feminist, bro.
Okay, so would you be more jealous of the white man for having me, or more jealous of me for having him?
I don't care. She don't sound nothing like Mango Mama no, bro.
Right.
Don't get you a white man. Hey, on everything, go get you a white man.
And I'm going black man. I'm going black man. Shit, I go in money rooms. I tell you that.
You remember that
No, I don't. I don't.
Okay, she get him money. Okay, I fucks with that.
Do America fuck with them? And they'll all every last one of them black women to tell you I don't fuck with none of them because I'm a loner. I always been. That's why I'm
Okay.
Okay, I fucks with that. I fucks with that.
I saw my cousin on Clubhouse. I almost.
Baby Steve is a monkey though. Baby Steve, he be better sometimes.
But I'm talking with my cousin.
Fucking Baby Steve. Baby Steve was a panda bear.
That's what a lot of those women. They're so behind.
I'm not no pender.
But I'll tell you one thing: if y'all feel like black women, they love them some black men. When
a black man never stop. When a black man stop.
I love my pussy. I can't.
like women stop loving black men. That's what you meant to say.
I love all women. How about that?
2015.
I'm not exclusive to black women. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me.
I like women that treat me well.
I used to
I like women that prefer me and me only.
Black, white.
So you guys are beating up on a black woman. You a bunch of hypocrites.
Oh, shit.
My name is Dog Smack. And I'm a super motherfucking moron. I think I'm a Republican comedian,
You projecting.
I'm about the only black woman you will ever
I'm not
meet that didn't
They ain't got no
vote for
fucking
Barack
back. Come back.
Oh, wow. I'm an
Oh, you ain't vote for Barack? Oh, shit.
I'm independent. I vote for
And I'm in a state.
Who you voted for, man? These faggots, man.
Indiana's a red state. The white folks.
See, Obama's a homosexual. Sarah Palin's a homosexual.
Hey, why didn't you vote for Obama?
Trump is a faggot.
He's a black
Because at
man.
first-
Concluded that there cannot be objective morality without the divine. So it made them think. It sparked something in them.
I know.
Now
I
you're
know.
saying that
Money.
we can't.
Traveler, I'm not somehow doing for I'm not a pragmatist who are using anything.
I'm finding some stuff. So, and then I'm gonna put up we'll put up a little bit of another track here. Let's see, 1 second. So
What
the
are you
average net worth in 2022 and 52,000. So I'm just making sure I have the right metrics because it's 1 point. So I put in a check.
These policies were created under your guys. Oh, well, that's a fallacy right there. You're doing a whataboutism. Well, wait a minute, you're making an accusation without even looking at your side first to see if your accusation can be used as a valid point.
Where the fuck did he find that one?
I think that's a fallacy in itself. You claim that, oh, what we're talking about is this and this and this. We want to disprove or prove that your guy is this or that or whatever it is we want to call it, but we won't even mention exactly how we got here. The nuances, the policies, the indiscretions of the previous leader is exactly how we got here to where we are. That's not going to be mentioned. It's like it's almost like you want to tie your opponent's arm behind their back and then claim victory when you defeat them in a boxing ring. I think it's terrible, and it's a weak way of debating, especially if you claim that you're a genuine interlocutor. It doesn't make any sense. Wait a minute, did I just lose service or y'all just...
Lion, what are you like, a wind-up toy? You just never shut the fuck up. You keep opinionating for 7 days a week, 8 hours a day. I mean, what the fuck? How do you drive a truck if you driving your fucking lips and mouth and brain here 7 days a week, 50 hours a week, talking about nothing?
Hey, if you think that's something, ask your mother what I do.
Lion, what is the answer to the secret riddle of the Sphinx?
George, you a fucking bitch.
The answer...
I'll throw you in the back of my fucking car and beat the dog shit out of you with my nightstick, bitch.
The answer is walk into your mother's house and find her tongue box.
So you guys want to rape my mother and kill me? Oh, you a bunch of intellectuals. I forgot we was in the Chili's, aka Ebonics house.
There's nothing funnier than seeing your mother in a sex.
George, I'm gonna beat the dog shit out of you with my fucking steak.
Is that how you get dates on a Friday, Saturday night talking like that?
I'm going to handcuff you in the streets with the gangbangers.
You gonna get another party hat talking like that, you dirty dog, making death threats. I hope you got another burner account lined up, because I know you addicted to this shit. I hope you like a party hat. I'm reporting you right now.
You a cocksucker.
I'm gonna see your party hat tomorrow, I'm sure, for a little party.
For a little party?
Orange is gonna be a good color for you for the next 30 years.
Only reason they let me up here talk is because the mods are sick of you fucks, you dumb, low IQ motherfuckers who run your lips all day long talking about nothing. That's why they allow me to disrespect your asses right now.
Where's that bitch Nate at, man? I'm gonna lock that nigga's head off and use his head as a bowling ball, man.
I'm gonna report you for making attempted death threats, you dirty fucking piece of shit.
He's living away.
You know what? The only good thing about that dude's bald head is to fucking take that shit and roll it down the fucking bowling ball alley and watch it knock the pinball.
Robert said that he be bleaching his skin.
Oh man! Hey, Lion, you want to see his ugly ass face? You want to see his ugly?
I already know what it looks like.
I'm gonna let Dr. Adams eat both your assholes up for dinner.
That shit was hilarious.
Hey.
It's called
Hey.
It's called Chittism Chitlins.
Yo, hey, Lion, isn't this the type of face you would just want to fucking knock off? Like just take a baseball bat and just dash that shit in orbit. Look at this. Hey, man.
He got another picture where his face is like totally like just about like 5 times like.
I'm telling you,
man. Be talking shit about light skin niggas.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. Hey, one of these days I'm gonna be down in Dane County. I'm gonna find where this nigga lives at. I'm gonna knock him the fuck out. And then while he's unconscious, I'm gonna fucking take a picture of his ass. You know what I'm saying?
Mass report for death threats.
Oh yeah, nah. I said I was gonna knock his head off.
Hello? Hello? It's gotta be Dr. Sasha. He's back. He's bored. And he's got music.
It's like, yo, I don't know.
Yeah, but technically, I mean, like, so the angel came and impregnated Mary, and then
Wasn't even God didn't do the deed himself?
God also appeared in Joseph's dreams and said, "This is what's going to
I don't
happen."
care about the music, Dr. Sasha.
That's diabolical. He's in Joseph's dreams like, yo, first we gonna hit it from the back. Put her legs up over her head.
Dr. Sasha, don't you have a family? What the fuck are you on here playing music to some fucking bald-headed asshole in Chicago? What the fuck is wrong with you, Dr. Sasha?
Each and every tip.
Good song, by the way.
Do you think Steve Mary was a squirter?
Oh, I fucking hope so.
Bye, Dr. Sasha. Sorry.
Turn a woman wanting into
It's
water.
not music hour. I'm about to go to sleep.
Can't make you squirt.
Maybe it is a myth. I've had a woman squirt, and I'm like, you're peeing.
Yeah, a lot of girls claim that it's squirt, but what they're doing is pissing all over your carpet.
Yeah.
But it didn't smell. It didn't like. It was,
Yeah, it's too deep, Sasha. I just can't do it.
Whatever.
I'll start crying. Yep. I met a girl at the bar once. No, she's like, I'm squirting. I'm like, bitch, you're pissing on my carpet. Stop. A pool is forming.
I'm coming. Motherfucker, you're peeing inside me. Stop. I'm trying to pee inside a woman.
Disgusting.
It would be so
Yeah, that's
awful.
gross.
One of my drunk buddies peed in a girl's mouth. She tried to give him a blowjob.
Oh.
Where you gotta go.
Bro, to be fair, having known this dude since kindergarten, not surprising. Kind of blamed her.
She should have seen it coming.
I feel bad for his adoptive parents. Like, he's not a bad-looking dude, by the way, but, I mean, I've known this guy since kindergarten. He's just the dumbest motherfucker I know.
Oh, this isn't to be a dick. This is like, I don't know what to do.
I mean, honestly, maybe. Yeah, I never actually interviewed him about it.
Get him on the phone. Let's ask some
What
questions.
he's telling us. The last interview I had with him, Austin, many years ago, we would have been like fucking 19 or something. Me and the boys were out getting fucking wings or something, and he shows up and he's so excited. It's such a good movie. He tells us, "Oh man, last night I just went to the strip club and I had such a good time." And he gets really descriptive. By the way, this is going somewhere. The strippers out there bouncing their fucking ass on me and what did he say? Like making a fucking ass taco with his cock or something like that, bro. That was the kind of description he gave, right? And he's really excited. He's like, "Oh, I got this new job coming up." He's like, I'm gonna go work at this club. I'm gonna work at this club. Okay, I don't want to say the name of the club, actually. That's very revealing. But basically, he's got a job. He's gonna go work at a male strip club. And so he tells us all this, and there's this long silence around the table. And he like looks at each of us like individually, and he goes, "Guys, it's not gay. Like they can't touch you." He told us what it was like for you at the women's strip club. And then he followed it up with the strip club, but it's not gay. After the ass dick taco example.
Dude, it is a well-known fact that a woman-themed, like a male-themed strip club is far more
Yes.
rambunctious. It's like a well-known fact, so I don't know. So I want an update, dude.
Bro, well, you know what? I don't even know if you followed through, but in that conversation, we're like, you know what, bro? Like, yeah, it's super gay, but it's okay. We support you, bro. Like, you're fine, dude. Like, nobody's gonna judge you. Like, it is super gay, though. And I just remember he got like this sad look on his face, like we just took Christmas away.
Dude, he was working at a strip club. It didn't matter. It was a bunch of dudes. He was still working at a strip club. That's the dream.
But you know what? The cool thing about being born mentally diminished, this dude survived like an extreme overdose on like research chemicals. He was in a coma for like 3 days when he came out. Same exact dude, which we all credited to the fact that he's always been really dumb. Like he just did 3 days in a coma, came out of the coma, just. He even addressed it economically and he said a lot of stuff. Subhanallah, I mean. People are.
They're gone, and if there's only 21 million, all these things, right? And it took me literally, even though I was, from a technical family, we had a technical background, it took me until it was $2,000 before I bought my first one, like 4 years later. And even then, I went into shit coins and for years before finally, after being in it for probably a decade, realized like, oh, no, Bitcoin is the only one. It's the only one that's not a fucking scam. It is literally more life-changing for humanity than IP protocol and the internet, right? Like that, it took me.
You're so fucking brainwashed and stupid. It's unbelievable.
Do you want to break that down a little bit, or
Yeah, you're making all or nothing statements. I mean, you're talking as if you can eat a Bitcoin for breakfast, or fly a Bitcoin to the Bahamas, or build a house out of Bitcoin. I mean, you're talking like a neurotic Bitcoiner. It's pathetic.
But I can do all those things. Like you can own Bitcoin through MicroStrategy, through an ETF, on an exchange. You can exchange it for currency.
Okay, Bitcoin.
Jeremy, for the record, you said you come from a technical family, so check.
How dare you? If you suggest that there are not some absolutely fantastically melanated folks out there that were not revolutionary in tech innovation, then you never saw that NASA movie.
I come from a very technical family too.
I should totally expose myself. I'm sorry. What was that, doggy? Maja?
I don't know. The point is, Canada is an inferior country to America in nearly every way imaginable, including its citizens, and you are a perfect example of this inferiority. I am complete.
And listen, most of the and I understand why, right? But also, if you check on like any of the top indicators of quality when it comes to quality of life, whether it's education, access to healthcare, like just every metric, I think, with the exception of maybe like how many guns are owned per person, it all points to the opposite of what you said, Doji Maja.
Oh wow, guns. That's your big argument? Because you guys don't have as many cool guns as us? That's pathetic.
I'm saying that's the only thing that America does does better than us, which is own more guns per person.
The only thing we do better? The only thing?
I mean, if I'm being critical,
Have you seen our president compared to Trudeau? Do you know who you guys elected?
And so, because I'm an educated person who understands global politics rather than just American stuff, I actually know that Trudeau's not the Prime Minister of Canada. He's also not the governor.
He wasn't the Prime Minister?
He was.
He was. I know he was. I said, do you realize who you elected?
Do you know who our new Prime Minister is, Doji Maja?
No, I don't know the name.
Why not? Do you think it has anything to do with it?
Let me Google that for myself so I can tell you now.
When it comes to education? No, but do you think it has anything to do with that, maybe?
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that you're on here every day talking about nothing, wasting all your time?
I mean, we all have our downtime, right, Doji Mata? Don't you have like...
You have a lot of downtime, Dr. Jeremy.
There's a lot of hypnosis in the room right now.
I've heard you pontificating and talking apes for quite a while, talking about nothing. It's amazing how much nothing you can talk.
What's up, Martel? Do you think Bitcoin is a scam?
Do I think Bitcoin is a scam? I do not. But I mean, am I heavily invested into it? No. Do I have some in my portfolio? Yeah.
Do you understand, or do you appreciate the difference between Bitcoin and shitcoins?
I do, and I know the difference between the technology that Bitcoin offers compared to a lot of the shitty meme coins. I'm very particular in what I invest in, and I don't go as far as to really just the big three, right? Bitcoin, bit of Ethereum, and I do like Avalanche, but like other than those three, I don't really go into like the meme coins.
You were doing awesome. Like you were literally like doing so good right up until the last sentence, and then like.
I'm not a Bitcoiner. I don't call myself a Bitcoiner, like a maxi or anything, but it is an asset that's hard to ignore, you know.
Okay, and honestly, I want to be nuanced. So I don't want to just shit on shitcoiners, right? Is that listen, you can make money fucking with shitcoins, just like you can make money going to the casino. Most people don't. It's ultimately up to luck. But I'm not saying you can't make money with shitcoins, but they're still shitcoins. Ethereum is a shitcoin. XRP is a shitcoin. If you want to argue out of the 30,000 shitcoins, what isn't? Maybe you could talk about Monero. If you wanted to fuck with nuance, maybe you talk about Zcash. But like that's it. And then those aren't important because Bitcoin layer 2, you can do that shit anyways, right? And so, but Martel, what I will say is that for the no coiners versus the shit coiners, and with respect, I'm going to reference you as a shit coiner because you own some Ethereum. Like, at least you're not a no coiner, right? You know what I mean? And I say that having previously been a shit coiner. Like, I don't say that like just calling you a piece of shit. I used to be a piece of shit. Like, and what I'm saying is no coiners.
Used to be. Listen, I come from a very technical family.
But what is your take on Ethereum being a shitcoin?
It's a shitcoin. It was pre-mined. Its roadmap and everything that happens to it is decided by some autistic fucking skinny little Canadian kid called Vitalik. And if you're under any pretense that it's not a centralized fucking shitty fucking database, and that you can do everything on Bitcoin layer 2 or layer 3 that you can do with Ethereum shitcoin, then like why the fuck would you fuck with a centralized cryptocurrency owned by an autistic little Canadian kid that wears fucking kitty cat t-shirts? You know what I mean?
Well, that might be just the stupidest thing I've ever heard you say on this app.
Well, stick around, man. It's only going to go downhill from here. But do you know what I mean, Martel? There's almost all shitcoins are pre-mined, are centralized, and their fate is decided on a group of people who has money and interest in propping up this fucking bullshit thing.
I mean,
You're projecting.
Like what's not to say that Bitcoin isn't being propped up as well, right? Who owns the most Bitcoin? Like the U.S. government owns a lot of Bitcoin too after the Silk Road seizure. I mean, there's some major holders that can manipulate the markets with Bitcoin. We're being completely honest, right?
Mm-hmm. No, totally. I totally agree. I don't think the U.S. government has enough to manipulate, but Michael Saylor could absolutely fucking tank Bitcoin if he sold any of theirs, right?
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, what's up, Sean?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, so I'm confused because I don't know too much about Bitcoin. I mean, I know something, with the coins, right? Is there any like there's so many coins out there, right? Like, who's to say which one's a good one and which one's not gonna tank, or how do we put faith behind these things?
Bitcoin is the best.
If I can tell you like my answer to that after spending like a lot of time, like over 14 years trying to answer that question, my answer is that ignore everything but Bitcoin. Don't try to day trade Bitcoin. Don't try to sell and buy and make money on highs and lows. That's going to the casino. Anyone who has owned Bitcoin for more than 4 years has made money on it. And I believe that trend is going to continue. I think it's going to accelerate as time goes on, as more and more people realize how important the technology it is. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why it's different than all the other ones. That would be like, I would kill the room if I went into it, but like my learning has led me to that conclusion.
Okay.
So much so, and let me tell you how irrational I am. So much so that I did have a diversified portfolio based on the technologies
This
that
is
I
made
use
of
in my
Pyrex.
business, and for years that made me very successful, like in my trading. And when I came to the conclusion that I did with Bitcoin, I moved 100% of my assets, my savings, investments into Bitcoin in one way or another.
Yeah, one more time.
So you're 100% in Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, not just Bitcoin, it could be ETF. Hey, what's up, Mal? Yeah, MicroStrategy, Bitcoin, or ETFs, but yeah, 100%.
Like things and everything?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question because I love the technology of Bitcoin. I think it's just amazing. But there are a couple of things that bug me. Governments might start to hate it because it gives some freedom, and freedom in a good and in a bad way, like for crime or whatever. But also, governments, they don't like freedom usually, even if they say that. Don't you fear that at some point they will just ban Bitcoin in an effective manner?
It's a great question, Mal, right? Because we've seen this happen before, and you're absolutely right. Like, government shouldn't be pro-Bitcoin, which, you can ask why Trump is. I'm being facetious, but, like, it's a great question. China was once the biggest centralization of miners, and they made a shitload of money using a lot of that cheap Chinese electricity, and then China banned Bitcoin mining, even though it was creating a lot of revenue for them, because exactly what you said, they were scared of it, right? And it tanked the price of Bitcoin. But what happened long term? It didn't matter. It still followed the curve. And the reason why it's so amazing is because who are they going to shut down? There's no CEO. There's no group of people they can arrest to stop it. There's no centralized server bank that they can shut down. Like it doesn't matter. Governments like it, they don't like it, it doesn't matter. That's what's magical about it. It's an open source technology that anyone with a little bit of computing power can transact without needing a bank or any third party. So I guess the simplest question is, like, why wouldn't a third party just shut it down? Is because it's Bitcoin. There is no third party. It's just the user.
Exactly. That is the marvelous part. But at the same time, they might say established economy, all the laws, everything won't play nicely with Bitcoin. I think we will never stop Bitcoin starting. We will never stop Bitcoin now. But it might not be like the main currency or an important currency. I don't know. What is your thought? Because you have read a lot.
No, I agree, Malik. I don't see a world where in the future where everyone is just like, oh, the chocolate bars is 1,000 Satoshis. Oh, scan, I'm gonna buy it. No. Your grandma, like the non-technological, no. We're always gonna have fiat. But what I would like to see in the future is a world where fiat is tied to something of value, a real commodity, like back when it was tied to gold, right? And I think Bitcoin is the new gold. It is the new store of value. It enables a whole bunch of things to happen really efficiently and effectively without using third parties, right? And I don't think any of the other shitcoins that truth applies. And to Martel, to tie back to what you were saying, right? Like imagine if the U.S. government decided Ethereum was no good and it was going to shut it down. They could go and seize all the Ethereum companies. They could put a warrant out for Vitalik. They could do all these things because it's not decentralized. There is a place that you can go and arrest and put lawsuit.
One question: you just said the word fiat, and I don't think that was a mistake. But somehow Bitcoin is also fiat. It's an act of faith, or I am wrong.
So I use fiat as a term to describe like national currencies that are created and dispersed by the government. So the United States dollar is fiat, the Canadian dollar is fiat. Not something based on fate, but just the term fiat refers to a national currency that is printed and created by a central bank, basically.
Well, no, yes, fiat is like fiduciary. It's like you trust the government will give you back something if you're holding a piece of paper that is has a dollar sign, and that's all. So they are not backed by an actual asset like gold or like cows or whatever the fuck they use it to back up the money. So Bitcoin is the same. Bitcoin is like you say Bitcoin is worth like $6,000, but it's I would say, I believe, is not wrong. I'm not criticizing, but I wanted to understand if, for some reason, it's not fiat in a sense.
Yeah, because when you look at Bitcoin, what determines its price? 100% free market. The market entirely determines its price. Like everything is known with regards to the production, how much is going to be made, when the last Bitcoin is going to be created. Like everything is known because it's very systematic and timed and predictable, right? And so the only thing that is unknown is what people will pay for their Bitcoin, and that's complete capitalism. Now look at fiat. What determines the value of USD? It's how much the interest rates are. It's what the planned inflation is going to be. It's how much of it is printed every year. And if you print too much, then it's going to devalue the USD. And those decisions are all in the hands of people and governments and political parties, right?
Yes, and the confidence and how strong militarily is the USA and how much the other countries are willing to use the dollar and things like that. It's quite complex. One other question, changing a little bit the subject, but staying inside Bitcoin. GPUs, for example, NVIDIA designed now GPUs so they can be used for Bitcoin mining. That has an impact. It doesn't matter. What do you think?
Sorry, what was the last part? Like with the GPUs, like a limitation on GPUs?
Yes, and NVIDIA, for example, the GPUs you can buy now, they are tweaked, so you can't use them to mine Bitcoin. It's called, there's a specific name. Actually, I own a couple of GPUs, and they clearly say you can't use that for Bitcoin because it's designed in a way that it won't do the job in a efficient way.
Yeah, some GPUs are not made for mining Bitcoin. That's not what they're specialized for. Bitcoin mining devices or hardware has GPUs that are specifically, and usually they're like very similar to graphic GPUs, which is why NVIDIA blew up because their graphic cards were very useful for Bitcoin mining. But now there's entire companies that are creating machines that are specifically in GPUs that are specifically for mining Bitcoin. And as long as there's a market for it, they're going to create it. But let's imagine there was a flood of low-cost machines, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of miners popped onto the network and started mining more. The reason why every 4 years the amount of Bitcoin that's produced is cut in half, and we know it's every 4 years, but we can't tell exactly the date, is because every 2 weeks the network does an adjustment, a difficulty adjustment. So like the China example I gave you, when China made Bitcoin mining illegal, the hash rate, the number of miners that were looking for Bitcoin, cut like 80% overnight because China shut off all mining, right? And so if the difficulties of finding Bitcoin was still super high, but there's way less people on there, well, then they'd never be able to mine any Bitcoin. But every 2 weeks, they'd look at that and say, oh shit, I'm going to adjust the difficulty so that everyone can mine predictably the amount of Bitcoin we want to create over every 2-week period. And so that's why we know the halving will happen in 4 years. But because of the delta in the 2-week period between an adjustment, we don't know the exact second or the exact date. So all that to say, if there's a change in the availability of mining equipment, or if 80% of the miners disappear next day, it doesn't matter. The network adjusts. Difficulty adjustment, everything keeps running.
Okay. And one other thing, I heard that the German government, with the help of some scientists, they have a way not to take out the full anonymity of Bitcoin, but certain part. I don't know what you think about that.
There's a zero anonymity when it comes to Bitcoin. Zero. I mean, that's literally the definition of a blockchain, is that it is an open ledger that anyone in the world can go and see every single transaction that has ever happened. And what they see is the amount that was sent, and the wallet it was sent from, and the wallet it was sent to. Everyone in the world, you can go back to the very first Bitcoin transactions and see them, and see exactly the wallet address and how much was sent and how much was. You can go and see every Bitcoin that was created, because it's all an open ledger, right? And so the anonymity part comes in on saying, hey, if I can acquire Bitcoin without using traditional banking systems, then my wallet address isn't associated to me. And it's getting harder to do that. There's ways to do it, but it's hard. Most people go into Coinbase, buy some Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin. But there's a paper digital trail that leads exactly to their identity, to that wallet, right? So it's not like this anonymous thing. It's not at all anonymous. There are other coins that are, like Monero, but Bitcoin isn't. But the other technologies that are being built on top of Bitcoin enable more privacy, more anonymity, if that's what you're looking for, right? And I don't think that's a bad thing.
I think that's great somehow. It's a double-edged sword, but sometimes it can be great for certain group of people.
Yeah, I don't think, like, this idea that privacy is somehow a bad thing is weird. Like it's weird. It's weird, you know. And privacy is the ability to selectively reveal yourself to the world, right? Secrecy is choosing not to reveal anything to the world. There's a difference, and it's important, right? And if you want to talk about like anonymity and a currency that's used for illegal means, then let's talk about USD. USD is anonymous. USD is the currency used by the majority of criminals in the world.
Totally. Actually,